Walla.
Hello everybody, this is Mr. Z Walla, and I'm here to explain to you basic IFR flight plans and the charts on where to obtain them. Okay, if you are new at this and you're trying to learn, this tutorial is basically for you. Why? Because I'm still a beginner. I'm still learning. Okay, I've been into aviation all my life, and actually this year I actually took it seriously upon myself to learn the rules. And guess what? It's a lot of information. It's a lot. So I watched a whole bunch of different tutorials, and I noticed that I was getting little bits and pieces of information from a tutorial here, a tutorial there. And I basically said, you know what? I'm going to make my own, and I'm going to make it simpler, where if you're trying to learn and this is your first time actually learning about flight plans and stuff like that, this is actually the tutorial for you, because I'm going to simplify it as much as I can. So let me stop talking here, and let's kind of go through it and get started. Now, before we get into anything, you need to know the difference between what VFR and IFR is. So what's the difference? Let's pretend I don't even know. What do we do when we don't know anything? Google it, right? Because that's what Google's all about. So let's just read this real quick. VFR versus IFR flying. There are two sets of rules for flying any aircraft, VFR and IFR. VFR stands for virtual flight rules, and IFR means instrument flight rules. Depending on the weather condition, a pilot may opt for one set of rules or the other. Now, by us knowing that, we already know that visual flight rules, I hope I said visual. Visual flight rules is basically using what? Your eyes, right? You're using your eyes. And then instrument flight rules is basically using the instruments. So you're using your instruments to fly. So that's the two different rules of flying VFR and IFR, okay? There is a great explanation if you want to go super into detail on IFR on VATSIM, okay, Virtual Air Traffic Simulation Network. This is a real thing. It's basically you can simulate a real air traffic controller will actually be on there, you know, and you will be an actual pilot. And when you know the actual terms, when you're simulating, you can actually fly IFR from point A to point B, you know, depending on if there's a controller that's up, that's actually blah, blah, blah. That's a whole nother story. But you can use ATC. You can use to fly from point A to point B, okay? So you can read this. This is a little great one. And it has everything in there, SIDs and stars, blah, blah, blah. It goes into real good detail. But that's on your own. I'm going to try to explain to you a little bit different, okay? But still the same. So let's get into it. How do I do my flight plan, okay? So let's just say I want to go from San Francisco to Los Angeles, okay? So KSFO to KLAX, all right? Because I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm going to fly to Los Angeles, which is a simple flight that happens every single day. Every single day. Now, there's a cool little website called FlightAware, which I love to death, okay? I love this site to death because it has a lot of detail. It's real-world live flight tracking, and it happens every single day. I mean, it's just totally awesome. It happens all the time, and it gives you the total breakdown of the flights, where they are, the actual altitude they climb, the actual speed that they went on, and then what they filed for. See, when you do flight plans, you have to file the flight plan. You have to create everything and then file it. And then so that's basically when an air traffic controller is using this piece of paper that you filed, or well, not paper anymore, everything is computerized, but basically the actual plan that you filed, they have a way to track you from place to place, okay? So if you were supposed to be here and use this route and you're not there, and guess what? You haven't called into a certain traffic controller. Hey, guess what? We need to find this airplane. So it's a great way to track the aircraft, and it's also a great way to create order. There's got to be order. Even though it's a big sky, there's tons of planes that are going all around. Even if I type in KSFO, this airport comes up. It's going to tell me all the actual planes that are in the sky. Now check that out. right? If I zoom out here, and I think it's around 9 o'clock for me right now, but earlier, I mean, just take a look at this. This is crazy. Look at this. Can you guys see all of this? Look at how many planes are in the sky currently, okay? This is crazy. This is crazy. And you can see that they're all kind of going in the same direction because there's order, because everybody's following a flight plan. And if there was no order, everybody would be all over the place, okay? So let's get back into how I file my flight plan. I don't even file it. Let me just tell you that. When you file it, and I don't even use ATC because I'm not at that level yet. But I'm practicing. So what I do now, say I want to go from San Francisco to Los Angeles. Okay. So what do? I click on this flight finder, and I do the two airport names. So the origin and the destination. So of course for me it's gonna be KSFO, which is San Francisco International. I'm going to arrive at KLAX. Okay. I'm going to hit that. I'm going to hit search. It's going to come up. Now, here's a whole bunch of aircraft that are scheduled. Here's some that are en route. Here's some that arrive. Now, these are the actual aircraft. This is the identified. So this is, the American Airlines Flight 218, right? And then this is the aircraft that they went on. So you can see there's some 737, there's some Airbuses here. So I usually like flying, of course, like everybody has their preferences. I like 737s. I like the Boeing, right? So here's a 738 here. Or here's a 733. So we'll just use this one, okay? This one took off at 6:25, arrived at 7:45. Okay, now this is Southwest Airlines 744. Everybody flies on Southwest. I'm going to click this guy. And this is the cool thing about this website. It's going to tell me the route. It's going to tell me what they filed for, what they actually did, when they arrived. I mean, it even tells me the gate that they departed from and the gate that they arrived to. Pretty cool, right? Okay. And then the actual route that they took. So this is how as simple as it gets. Here's the route. We'll get into this in a second. Okay, here is the route that they went on. Now, if I press this button called decode, this is going to pop up. What is this? These are all the waypoints and reporting points and VORs that are listed on this route. So imagine if you're driving, okay, in your car, and you're going from point A to point B, okay, in a straight line, and I was to take that line, and at every 50 feet to 100 to 200, whatever, I start making these little marks, okay? This is what basically it is. It's the same thing. It's just tracking your place where you are in the sky. These are just, you're reporting. This is a VOR. This is basically a radio signal that sends radio signals in 360 degrees, right? Okay. Here's a waypoint. Okay. So this is just a way to report just so how you track it. Now, it doesn't really say it over here, but I'll show you another website where you can actually see the points on the actual route itself. So as far as right now, this is San Francisco to Los Angeles. And here's our route. That's all we need to know right now is our route. We don't need to get into too many more details. I just showed you the code so you know exactly what's going on. But you just need to know about your route right now, okay? So we figured out our route. Now, what is this right here? This SSTIK3, this eBay, this AB, and this SID6. What is this, okay? I'll explain to you what that is. Let's get into the next part, which is called SIDs and stars. Okay, so what is a SID and what is a star? A SID is a standard instrument departure. Okay, everybody that flies IFR needs to depart on a SID. Okay, everybody that flies IFR needs to arrive on a star. A star stands for Standard Terminal Arrival. Okay, so SID, stars. So let's go back over here. You got your route. Okay, you got SSTIK3. That's the first thing in our route. Okay, so obviously we know if we're going to fly on a standard instrument departure, the very first one is our SID. And of course, we know that if we're flying IFR and we're using the IFR, the very last one is our star. Okay, so we found our SID and we found our star. And it's not going to tell us, but we got to know these things. Okay, everything in between is basically a way to track your route. Everything in between is just everything in between. It could be a waypoint, it could be a VOR, etc., etc. But for right now, we just need to know about our SID and our star. The very first and the very last. All right? So, let's find our SID because we want our standard instrument departure. So, I'm going to go to this website, which is called Sky Vectors. Sky Vector, not vectors. I always add an S at the end. Okay? So sue me. All right? It's a great website. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything. Okay? Charts are available for you. And it actually will show you exactly where you are, what's located, your airport. It has everything in there. It has all the charts in there. This is where I go get my charts. Okay? I like Sky Vectors. There's other websites as well. They all work, but it's all about your personal preference. I like Sky Vector. Okay, so I'm going to go get us some charts right now. So what I like to do is I just like to hit the airport first and type in the departing airport that I'm on. So where are we departing from? KSFL. Correct. Yes. And I like to pop out, obviously, the airport itself, the actual chart of the airport itself. I like to do that because obviously you got to know where you are first, right? And then the next thing I'm going to do is what do we need to look for? We need to look for our SID. So our standard instrument departure is what? SSTIK3. So this stick 3, okay? The SS or the S stick 3. So I go back to Sky Vectors. I clicked on the San Francisco International Airport. I scroll down. Okay, you got all this information in here, okay? That's another time. We'll learn about that later. Don't worry about that right now, okay? We're scrolling. What is all this charts? This is crazy. No, it's not crazy, guys. It's not crazy. What are we looking for? We're looking for our departure. So let's look for the word departure. Hey, look at that. Departure procedure. Which one are we looking for? The SS-TIC-3. Well, let's find it. It's all alphabetical. Get out of here. It is. All right. Bada bing, bada boom. Here it is. I got money, honey. All right. So we found our departure. Boom. All right. Let's get into our departure. So let's see what our departure says. Our departure basically says take off runways 01 left or 01 right. Okay. Climb to a heading of 014 to 520 feet. Then turn left direct to SS-TIC-3 or whatever, TIC. Then turn left to direct to cross Porte at or below 10,000. Okay, so let's just take a look at this chart. So exactly, let's see what it says. Take off runway 01 left and 01 right. Okay, we're taking off 01 left and 01 right. Climb to a heading of 014, which is exactly what we're doing. We're going to get to 520 feet. As soon as we get to 520 feet, we're banking a left, and then we're going to this SS-TIC. Okay, and then we're going to bang another left, and we're going to get to Porte. Okay, and this is basically our transition right here. Okay, now How do we know what's our transition? Oh no, you never got to that part, Z. Yes, I did. Guess what? The transition is always the next word that is after your departure or your arrival. Okay? The transition is always the next word that is after your departure or your arrival. Now, this is a small route. So, guess what? The transitions are right next to each other. So, if we look right into this thing right now, we look right in here. You got SS tick 3, and then the transition is what? It's the one word right after. It's the eBay. Okay? That's our transition. All right? Now, if we go to our arrival, SID 6, the transition is right before. It's AV. So you got your transitions, which are just happen to be on this route right next to each other. Okay? So the transition is eBay. Now, if I go back to my chart here, I'm looking for eBay. I'm getting to port, and I need to find this eBay. This is YouTube, whatever this Natal. Nope, that's not it. Is it this one here on the bottom? Nope, that's not it. I don't see no eBay. Is it this one next to it? Nope, that's not it. How about this one? Yes, it's right here. eBay. So guess what? I'm going to go from here to 520 feet to SS tick to Porte, and then I'm going to take this radial 119 to 117 to eBay. And that's basically how the direction that I'm going to be flying to. So we're going to take off from here. We're going to make a left. We're going to hit this Porte. And then guess what? Once we get here, we're going to take a radial of 119 to 117 to the Susie. And then from there to eBay. And that's our transition. It's as simple as that when you enter it into the FMC computer. Okay? It is as simple as that. Now, let's go ahead and go back over here. And we will see our arrival. Now, our arrival is SID 6. Now, remember, the transition is what? Before. So the transition is AV. So we know SID 6 and our transition is AV. So guess what? Now, I'll just duplicate this real quick. Click on airport. Click on Los Angeles. I'll look up LAX. Simple as that. I'll come over here. And what am I looking for? Not our departure. I'm looking for the standard terminal arrival, which is our star. And which one is it? The SID 6. Here it is. It's all done alphabetically. So I'll click on this. Click on this. See, sometimes you have to look because this says SID 6 continued. So I click on this. Now let's flip this guy over so we could see it. This is a cool one because when you look at this, you're like, oh my God, what is going on over here? This is crazy. It's not crazy. Okay, it's not crazy. This LAX is a very busy airport. It's super busy. They have to have some sort of order for people to come in. Otherwise, you just got people coming in all kinds of crazy ways, right? All kinds of crazy ways. Now, if we go back over here and we look at this 86, the transition is AV. So in this case, it's a little bit different. You're looking for something before, not something after, because you're coming in, right? Because over here, in this SS3 departure, okay, you're moving. So you're looking forward for eBay. You're looking forward, okay? Now, we're arriving into Los Angeles. So you're looking from the back. So we're out here. You want to start always from this side and try to find Ave. I can already see it. Here it is. It's up on top. Okay? It's right over here. But what are all these other things? What are all these other things here? Well, let's just go through it and we'll try to figure it out together. These are different ways of approaching into Los Angeles International Airport. This is just one arrival, but this is different ways of approaching into this arrival. This arrival is actually a little complicated, okay? Depending on where you're coming from. These people are coming from the east, okay? This is obviously the people that are coming from the north, traveling south, okay? This is people coming from kind of, I'd say northwest, okay? And you got people coming right here from southwest. Haha, get it, southwest. But they all come in, if you take a look at it, they're all coming in. Everybody's coming in. Follow the arrows, okay? Follow the arrows. They're all coming in to this point right here, which is what? SID. Hence the reason it's 86 arrival. So take a look at it. Everybody's coming in to this SID point. Okay? They're coming in over here. They're coming right into this waypoint. So you can come from Ave, you come from Palmdale, you come from San Marcos, you can come from Ventura, you can come from this Elkey, but eventually everybody's going to hit this point. And it's up to the air traffic controller to make sure that there's some order, spacing, restrictions, flight levels. It's their job to make sure that they control so that you guys are not obviously crashing into each other, but there's also some sort of system going on. There's no chaos that happens at the airport. Okay? That's why they do what they do best. I think being an ATC controller, you have to have a lot of patience and you need to learn how to improvise and be smart because it can get tricky, especially at an airport like Los Angeles. But if you take a look at it, once they hit the SID point, it's only one way in. Look at it. There's no other way of breaking off and going to other places. Okay? There's only one way in, and that's into the airport. All right? I would compare it like a funnel. Okay? This is the big part of the funnel. All of this here. Okay, all these aircrafts are coming in. And then if you're the big part of the funnel, you know it's the larger part, right? It's the big part. It's the part that you pour in from the top. And everybody's coming in. Everybody's coming in. And it's a big circle. But on the other side of the funnel, it's skinny. There's a small hole. And only one can come out at a time. And that's basically how this arrival works. Everybody's trying to come in. You hit one point. And then there's only one way in. That's it. Everybody's coming in one way. So it's their responsibility to space it out. Okay? Now, we go back over here. And guess what? You've just learned about the routing. You've just learned how to pick up your charts. That's it. I told you this tutorial is going to be super simple. I'm not going to go too crazy into detail. I was actually going to use SimBrief. But I said, nah, forget it. We'll just use this one website just to explain everything, and then we'll kind of move forward from there. But if you take a look at it, super, super simple, right? Right? You guys can answer me, right? Okay, right. So let's go over it one more time. One more time. The route that they used for this particular aircraft and this particular flight was the SS TIC-3, transition into eBay, and the arrival was the SID-6, transition was AV. This is a small route. Sometimes this route can be super long, depending on the aircraft. But what we remember, we'll start from the beginning, that the transition is always the one that's after and the one that's before. Okay, your very last and your first. So let's start with our standard instrument departure, SID. So let's start with this, the SS-TIC3 to eBay. Okay, so you go over here. We looked it up. San Francisco chart, SS-TIC3. We came over here. We banged a left. After we got to 520 feet, we got to Porte. From Porte, we transitioned to eBay. Okay? We transitioned to eBay. And now it's it. From eBay, the flight computer, you put it in, it'll give you the rest of the waypoints. Okay? Now, we talk about our arrival. Come over here. What's our arrival? The SID-6. The transition is always what? The one before it, which is AV. So guess what? We come to the SID-6. We look for AV. It's right here. Okay, we follow AV. You're going to go down here. 129 radial, 130, 148. And guess what? Boom. You hit the SID-6. SID-6, you have one way in. Okay, on a 081. And you go all the way down into Los Angeles International Airport. All right. Now, a little bit going into detail, a little bit more. If I hit this decode button, you said, well, Z, you said the FMC programs the rest for you. It does. That's why those computers are awesome. If you look over here, and let's see if I can zoom in here a little bit. Booyah. Unfortunately, it won't. Well, just take a look over here. I'm sure you can see it. But if you look over here, and you see this, here is all of the names of the waypoints and the VORs like we went over before. But let's find the ones that we've been going over and using in this tutorial. Okay, obviously we know this is our destination. I mean, this is our actual location airport where we're at is KSFO. This is where we're starting from. Where we're using the SS-TIC, which is right here, right? That was the that was our standard instrument departure that we're using. Oh, here's Porte. Okay, here's Susie. We saw that, and then eBay. All right. So right here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we seen this. Boom, 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 and boom. Well, let's go over here real quick. Porte, Susie, eBay. The SS-TIC3, Porte, Susie, eBay. See, this is a way to track everything. All right? And in the FMC computer that when you program it, which will be another tutorial, it will say this. SS-TIC, Porte, Susie, eBay. And this is a way you can actually go through. Now, if you don't see something in there or something looks wrong, that's when you take action and say, hey, something's wrong over here. Because remember, at the end of the day, it's a computer. It can make mistakes. All right? Now, let's go to our arrival. Our arrival was what? It was the SID-6, okay, using the AV transition. So guess what? Here's AV, okay? Now, we didn't go too much into it, but if we go here, it should be AV, Derb, Reyes, this Peru, I'm going to say, Fim, Ghana, Simone. Here's Sadie, okay? So let's just go over here and look at these guys real quick and see if we could track those guys. Here's Av. Here's Derb. Yes. Reyes. Fim, which is Fillmore. Yes. And then Sadie. So it's exactly what it's saying on the chart. Let's see if we can go a little bit further. Then I think after this is what? Santa Monica VOR. So that's SMO, then JAFC. So if we go back over here, here's based. Oh, I think we missed one here. Yes. Whoops. Based. Okay. Then SMO, then JAFC. Based, SMO, JAFC, KLAX. So this whole route right here is in between these two charts. Okay? Right here. This chart, standard instrument departure. This chart, standard terminal arrival. And then you fly into Los Angeles International Airport. Now, selecting the runway, and that's a whole nother tutorial. It's a whole nother ballgame. Right now, we're just focusing on understanding how these guys use the charts in the real world. How they take off. How they fly. How they stay in the IFR rules, the instrument flight rules. And how they arrive into the airport. Because remember, if they don't use these rules, it's going to create chaos. And you don't want to create chaos in the air. Because there's one important thing about flying that you have to forget versus driving a car. Something happens to your car, or you make a mistake, knock on wood, you can always pull over to the side, kind of look things over and move forward. When you're in the air, you make a mistake, guess what? It's not so forgiving. Okay? It's not so forgiving. So there you go. All right? Now you know, or you should know, exactly how commercial airline pilots or pilots that use the IFR flight rules, okay, how they use to fly from point A to point B. I hope this tutorial helped you out. I hope it did. I know it was a little bit long. Some stuff's a little bit all over the place, but guess what? We're here to learn. We're here to help each other, and we're here to move forward, all right? This is Mr. Z Walla. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment below. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Who knows where we can go to, as long as we go together, all right? This is Z Walla, and I'm out.